mobile generation.
Adam Kungu gegange program ganga mka extra kwetuli tuli ku Facebook, tuli ku Twitter, tuli ku YouTube. Baba TV Uganda jobo tunonyeza ojja kubanga otulabira ddala bulungi nnyo. Atewere ni program eno ekutusibwako bano era mikwano gyo aba ASAC Financial Services abagamba nti katusobola okufuna pichi ku nsimbi entono ate n'osasula mu kibanja mpola. Kwate mitwalo 79 n'ekitundu gyokka ogende mu ASAC Financial Services ojja kuvayo ne pichi balance asigaddeyo ojja kusasula nga mpola oba mu mwaka 2 3 4 5 kiva gy'oli naye nga pichi ogirina ogikozesa. Namba kwokuba eri 0800 38 88 84 ya ASAC Financial Services bakubireko kati obagambe namba ogijjeko Baba TV. We are looking into the ongoing strike of teachers across the country. Balowooza nti government eremereddwa okutuukiriza obweyamu bwayo n'ebibazze boogerako nayo naddala ku salary enhancement oba ku kwongeza ku misaala gyabwe. And like I said, as we speak now across the country, especially amasomero agali ebweru w'ekibuga Kampala aga gavumenti, abaana abalika abatono nnyo abalabiseeyo abasomesa ba arts bali waka bagamba balinda communication okuva ew'obukulembeze bwabwe ku secretariat wano mu kibuga obwa UNATU. Mu studios omwogezi wa UNATU, de facto spokesperson of UNATU nga era ye ssaabawandiisi wa UNATU, muganda wange mwami Filbert Baguma mu studios gwendi naye. Now producer wange soko tulage ebbaluwa eyo ku screen. Ebbaluwa eno aliko Baba TV yawandiikibwa Catherine Bitarakwate Musingwire nga bw'ogiraba ku screen. Ono ye muwandiisi ow'enkalakalira permanent secretary owa ministry eno era nga bw'olabaawo ku kiwandiiko ekiri awo agamba nti this is to request you to relay the following announcement to brother on Uganda Broadcasting Network. Nebirala ekyo kiwandiiko yakiwandika some time back nga kyogera ku discussions, negotiations zebaali babeera nazo ne UNATU until the recent document eyawandiikiddwa eri abalondoozi ba government ku district ab'enjawulo emirimu gya government nga bo balagira okulondoola ebikolebwa abasomesa. Mwami Filbert, apparently the threats are in existence. Your teachers risk losing their jobs. Are you about to bow to that pressure? Do you think you can resist your stand? Do you even think government is messing up the entire thing?
Yeah, I think individuals within government are irresponsibly misleading government because this is a democratic government governed under the rule of law. It is a signatory to International Labour Organization. It has ratified some of the conventions. And arising from that, our laws speak against intimidation, threats, harassment during a legal industrial action.
You're saying it is legal?
Once you are legally on industrial action, it means you have withdrawn your labor according to the law. Article 40, Clause 3C. Every worker has a right to withdraw labor according to the law.
But you follow certain procedures.
The procedures were followed.
Yes, yes. Wetwogera.
Yes,
Catherine Bitarakwate.
yes,
PS wa public service.
yes.
Agamba temwagoberera mateeka oba guidelines oba
good enough.
procedures ezigobererwa nga industrial action ng'eno egenda mu maaso.
In her own letter, she said if we are aggrieved, we should go to court. We are also telling her, he who alleges has the duty to prove. So if she knows we violated the procedures, why hasn't she taken UNATU to court?
No, it's the reason they're coming to crack the whip. Kubasomesa.
Now, have they abrogated the constitution that was put in place by this same government so that they act arbitrarily? We need to know that so that we know there is no longer rule of law in this country.
Well, you seem not scared.
Why should I get scared when I am speaking the truth? That same author of that letter is the official secretary to the Negotiating and Consultative Council. She is a signatory. She appended her signature on the collective bargaining agreement. She is the same person who is intimidating and threatening teachers. That is a contradiction of the words and the heart from the same person. She is very much aware that the labor laws condemn intimidation, harassment, and threats during negotiations and consultations. She is aware the labor laws do not allow you to terminate any worker who has withdrawn labor. So which law is going to be used to delete all the teachers who are on industrial action?
Okay, Filbert Baguma.
Sebo.
Do you consider this letter from the Ministry of Public Service as having been authored against the laws of the land?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, and we even made
the
a
government
response.
ye employer wo.
Yes.
Ye employer yammwe ng'abasomesa ebagambye mudde ku mirimu for now. There are some people who think you're not being considerate given the economic times this country has been in and the world as a whole.
I have told you one simple thing. There is a commitment. The
Which was made before
commitment has not been fulfilled. There is no communication to that effect. We have raised the issue. Now the question is, are we on the wrong side of the coin to raise the concern that government failed on its commitment and has not even labored to communicate?
They were supposed to communicate.
So before we go into any other thing, the issue is, are we faulted for raising a genuine issue? And if that, then why all this? The energy they are using to intimidate, to threaten, would have been used on the table.
Okay, apparently as we speak, town clerks, chief administrative officers, batambula, bagenda mu masomero, aga government, nga taking a stock of teachers who are absent in the schools.
Which is okay.
No, it's not okay.
You see,
it's risking jobs of your teachers.
We said we have gone for industrial action and we are staying at home. We cannot be in two places at the same time. You cannot be at home and at school at the same time. 2, even those who are going there by instruction are also aggrieved. And you might find they are even supporting us more than the exercise they are doing.
The cows and town clerks?
Yes, because of what is being done, where you will find a grade 5 diploma holder earning more than a cow, earning more than a town clerk, earning more than a human resource officer, earning more than a DEO, earning more than an inspector of schools, earning more than a head teacher, earning more than a deputy head teacher, and all those have higher qualifications
than a grade 5.
Do you think that makes them to get energized and motivated to go and carry out the monitoring? It is okay. Let them monitor and report what they have found there, because it is not in hide. It is not in hiding.
What explains this level of, commitment towards your stand? Kubanga ndabyeko abasomesa oba abakulembeze ba UNATU across the country mu district ezenjawulo, they seem to be determined to stand with your pronouncement as UNATU. What explains that determination?
No, you see, when you have a cause which you have planted, genuinely, I want you to imagine a teacher who earns 400,000 shillings under the current harsh economic conditions. How would you expect this teacher to survive? And this teacher is supposed to be in school from 8 a.m. up to 5 p.m. Even when this teacher goes home, he goes with work, either to mark or to prepare for the next day. And you are saying, okay, there is no problem, you see, but this teacher is also seeing what is happening in the country. If we are all feeling pain because of the economic situation, we should be fairly treated in the same country. We don't want a scenario where, for example, an officer went with a driver to a workshop, forgot the driver in the car, had break tea, lunch, evening tea, and came out, found the driver in the vehicle and said, let us go. While on the way, the officer was yawning because of eating too much. The driver was yawning because of hunger. And the teachers than at home with the parents and guardians. And therefore, the pain the teacher has over the learner goes beyond what ordinary person can look at. And therefore, this is to help the learner. It would be more dangerous if the teachers were forced to go back to class and they go there and pretend to be teaching.
Yet they are not.
Yet they are not. That would be the most dangerous scenario. And that's why even those who are saying you must go back, they don't know anything about teaching.
Mwagala Musala, let's talk about the timing. Appropriation yakolebwa dda mu parliament, budget neyisibwa. People are faulting you of having kept quiet at the time when the appropriation was being done, and you're coming out now.
I told you the journey started long ago. We are not talking about
maybe you should have reminded the government at some point.
Even in November, it was 21st November of 2019, we reminded the head of public service, secretary to cabinet, of the remaining unfulfilled pledge as per the collective bargaining agreement, because he was also a signatory to the same document. And therefore, for government to come out and throw away the collective bargaining agreement in the basket somewhere and choose not to talk about it is not only unfair, it is unjust and unconstitutional. So the issue of saying we have come at the tail end does not hold water, because they knew they had an obligation. They knew this collective bargaining agreement is expiring next financial year. So as signatories, why did they keep quiet?
Okay, the other day, you actually featured on a certain show, no mwogezi wa Ministry ya Education.
Yes.
And he made it clear the president yabasaba oba yabategeeza nti temulinya, and I'm quoting ebigambo bya PS bya spokesperson wa Ministry of Education, temulinya mu lubimbi lwatandise. You seem to be adamant.
The president is a human being, and therefore for me to come out and say, look, there is an impending danger to the innocent child of this country, that does not make me adamant in any way. I can also choose to keep quiet like any other Ugandan, but that does not help me, because I am only raising a red flag that this action will not help the learner, but will disadvantage the learner. The learners have lost almost 2 years during COVID-19 lockdown and school closures. Government came up with an abridged curriculum because the time we have is short and what to cover is a lot. And therefore, it is only fair to tell you that what is being brought is going to make matters worse. And therefore, you see, the teaching profession is not like any other profession. If the teacher is not psychologically prepared, the teacher can never teach.
Do you sense a deliberate move of dividing teachers by virtue of the decision of government to increase salaries of science teachers, nearly cover arts?
Definitely it is divide and rule. Because what would you call it?
A million over the about 300% increment area over science. Because otugambye wano nti si yammwe si mumwaji negotiating. You negotiated something much more than that.
Yes.
Where did it come from?
It came from the president himself. He promised. And when he promised, they got excited. But they are getting a low deal compared to what we had proposed, what we had negotiated.
Okay. So, as we're about to conclude, abasomesa balika, what should you expect in the next few days?
I want to expect that Ugandans and all stakeholders have seen what it is. We have lost time. The learners have lost time. And therefore, it's high time the responsible officers came down to the table to resolve the teacher issues.
How? Do you want to negotiate again with them, or you're saying you either increase our salaries as we agreed, or never, or we continue with our industry action?
Negotiation is talking.
So you need more talks from government.
We have not closed the door to discuss with the government.
But the government discussed with you, Bwana Baguma. You discussed with the president.
Yes.
The president asked you to get back to classes. You refused.
It did not solve the issue, and he instructed the 3 ministries to engage. They have not engaged. And therefore, the issue still stands.
What do you expect from the 3 ministries?
I expect them to address the issue that was tabled to them.
Okay. What do you expect from the negotiations with the 3 ministries?
I expect them to go back to the drawing table. We have a document that is fully signed.
Are you cognizant of the danger you are creating in the education sector?
I am not the danger. Instead, there are some enemies to the education sector in this country. And I am only raising a red flag that we are about to kill the education sector in this country.
Just 2 or 3 words to your teachers, and we call it a day.
I want to encourage the teachers to withstand the intimidations and threats. We are in a democratic country, and therefore democracy prevails. This is the government of the people. Threats of deleting you when you are legally fighting and demanding for your rights do not hold water. And I want to caution those who are intimidating teachers. They are only making the bad situation worse. Forcing a teacher to class does not tantamount to teaching. And therefore, teachers should get their issue resolved. They agree and go to class.
Okay. And
they are even ready to compensate for the time that has been lost, be it teaching during the holiday.
But there is a deadline of Thursday.
I am telling you, the deadline is not legally backed.
We hear you have another meeting on Friday. Is that true?
I haven't received the invitation. When I receive it...
But have you heard about it?
I have heard about it from the PS Ministry of Public Service this morning on a show, but officially I have not seen the invitation.
What does that itself speak to the seriousness government is taking your issue?
Well, whether they take it serious or not, the issue is on ground. Ugandans are watching. People in offices must take responsibility of their actions. I want to thank Ugandans for you have stood with the teachers of this country. Don't get tired. Continue to pray for the teachers and education of this country, because we want to see the innocent learners of this country go to class and be taught, not because the teachers have been forced to go back and teach, but because their issue has been resolved and agreed to go and teach the innocent children.
Will you bow to the pressure?
We have not bowed, and we are not going to bow to pressure. Pressure doesn't solve what we tabled.
Are we soon seeing you getting back to class?
Provided we get our issue resolved.
Nze Adam Kongo, program Ganga Muko Extra kwetubadde, mwami Filbert Baguma, Ssaabawandiisi wa UNATU, leero bwetyo bwetukoze. Ekiro tugenda kwongera okwegattibwako mikwano gyaffe okuva mu public unions endala abalangiridde dda nti beegasse ku UNATU mu keediimo kaabwe kano okwongera okuba torch mu nsonga zino. N'olwekyo teekako Baba TV ku ssaawa 4 public service unions endala 10 abali n'abasomesa tugenda